I'm on a diet since 12 weeks and I'm quite lean right now. I will keep doing this for another maybe, let's say 10 days. And then I'm thinking about making a recomp. So that's my question right now. How would you approach it? Because I want to get bigger, but at the same time, I want to keep my shape. I not want to do crazy bulking like I did earlier. This time, I really want to keep my shape. That's really important right now and it's the main focus.
So most coaches or bodybuilders would have you do just a slow, gradual change where you just gradually add in calories and you gradually change, increase the gear. I'm saying keep doing what you're doing, but throw in really high carbohydrate days. So using the pendulum theory, we swing back and forth. We swing hard towards bulking and then we swing hard towards cutting instead of the slow approach of increasing calories a little bit, right? So I'm saying keep your foundation of your dieting like you're doing, but throw in carb days. The more you want to bulk, the more carb days. The more you want to cut, the less carb days. On the carb days, you're going high carbs, high protein, or medium protein.
How many
insulin growth hormone, IGF.
How many high carb days would you do?
So that's like the sliding spectrum of how much you want to bulk. Recomposition is kind of like right in the middle of bulking and cutting.
Yes.
Let's say that's 2 or 3 very high carb days per week. But if you want to bulk, you want to put on a little bit more muscle, because the truth is it's hard for you to recomp when you don't have much fat, right? That's not recomp. That's clean gains. That's lean gaining, right? So to do that, I still think you have some days where you have low calories or low carbohydrate, especially, and then maybe 2 days of low carbs for the same thing you're doing now, and 1 day where you try to eat 1,000 grams of carbs, but you're doing it with insulin and growth hormone, like 3 units of growth hormone twice per day that day, and 10 units of insulin twice per day like that.
Okay. Would be 20 IU of insulin on a high carb days.
Right, exactly.
So I was thinking...
And take MK677 on your carb days. Make you hungry, make you want to eat the carbs, eat a lot more carbs. The key is you got to keep the fat low.
Okay, let's say I train 5 days a week and 2 days off. So I could do a diet on these 2 days, have a caloric deficit and 2 days a week, and 4 days of bulking. But would the ratio then be okay? 2 days of dieting and 5 days of bulking, let's say?
That's okay too, also, yeah.
I mean, it depends probably also of the caloric surplus, what I have on the high carb days.
It's like if you end up overeating too much on your high carb days, then the next day, take a carb day off. If you spill over, take a carb day off. That's how you know. Like you're never going to hit it perfectly. Some days you're not going to eat enough carbs. Okay, the next day you do a carb day. Some days you eat too many carbs, you spill over, you look watery. You now are softer instead of harder. All right, then okay, let's take a day off carbs. So you can start with your plan of so many carb days on, so many carb days off, but then you adapt it to whether you spill over or not.
Yes. So normally a coach would do it like this. He would increase the calories day by day or week by week, but would eat the same amount of calories each day. But we do it in a different way. We're doing high carb days and low carb days.
Yeah.
Because we can use the chemistry as well, like insulin and GH, and so we can make use of the high carb days.
Yeah, because the high carb days, you're going to build a lot of muscle. You're going to put on a lot of muscle, a lot of weight, a lot of water, and you're going to be able to eat a lot and not store any as fat.
Mm-hmm.
But then you can't do that every day. You can't just redline every day with growth hormone, insulin, eating as many calories. Your digestive system gives out. Eventually, you're going to spill over. Eventually, you can't eat enough to make it worth doing it, so you take a break. And the same thing, you don't want to diet hard every day, because if you do, your metabolism crashes.
Yeah.
So we're going back and forth between bulking and cutting within 1 week. Exactly.
So right now I'm at 2,200 calories, around 2,200. So I would try it in this way. I would do 4,000 calories on my high carb days, around 4,000 calories, and then maybe around 2,500 on the other days. You think
that's perfect? That's fine. Yeah.
Can I jump right on it, or would you say it's better to increase it? Like the first weeks, okay, I go up to 3.5, and then the week after I go further.
No, as long as you're eating foods that are easy to digest, so it's not taxing your digestive system too much. If you're sticking to things like white rice and you're sticking away from things like gluten, you'll be able to jump right into a high carb day. Your muscles are already like a sponge. Your insulin sensitivity is awesome. You're gonna suck up all those carbs. You don't even need growth hormone and insulin the first day you do this because you've been dieting for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, might as well do the growth hormone and insulin, but like even a natty could use this approach if they've been dieting a while, throw in a high carb day. But just, you can't just keep throwing in high carb days. Got to swing it back and forth.
Okay, let's talk about the chemistry. Because right now I'm doing a diet, and when I'm doing a diet, I take more different supplements for keeping my muscles and burning fat. So normally I should do a break after. But do you think it's possible to do like maybe, let's say like low dosages of a test, maybe equipoise, which not affects my blood parameters, and I can start directly after my diet without cruising?
Yeah, I mean you're trying to look shredded even though you're gaining. You want to maintain this kind of conditioning.
But also
so you want to choose
healthy.
gear that doesn't put on water and cause water retention.
That's the one thing, but yeah.
And since you're not trying to get huge, you're actually doing a very healthy approach. You can use healthy gear. Equipoise has very low side effects in reasonable dosages.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can plug it in. So, I mean, this is the type of situation to use Primobolan or a SARM, even Anavar, and you should be able to also train a lot harder.
Yes.
I mean, the increase in carbohydrates on these days is going to allow you to train a lot harder. And if you can train harder, you're going to also build more muscle and burn more fat.
Yeah.
So it all fits together.
Yeah.
You're going to gain muscle very fast because your muscles are hungry. They've been starving, basically.
Yeah.
And you haven't been able to train as hard as you could have because you didn't have the calories there.
Right.
And I don't know, what were you taking for shredding? I mean, you're taking
right now I'm
fat burners, but what about gear?
I'm taking 300 milligram of test, 300 milligram of Masteron, and 300 milligram of Primobolan.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's quite okay. It shouldn't affect my...
I mean, you could stay on this same stack. Exactly. This is a perfect recomp, lean, bulk, whatever stack. The only reason to come off it is just if you've been doing it a while, then side effects just generally aggregate with compounds, so it's nice to switch compounds every once in a while.
Or maybe I just keep doing it and just don't take the Masteron. Just doing the Masteron out and keep with the 300 Primobolan and the 300 test.
It's enough. That's enough. You can grow on that because the growth hormone and the insulin and the carb up itself and the harder training are all enough to build a lot of muscle. You don't need a lot of gear. I mean, if you took more gear, you'll get even bigger, but you don't really need it. You can do this very healthfully with that 300 milligrams of test and 300 milligrams of Primobolan is something someone could run their whole life without any really relevant side effects.
Yeah, maybe then I just keep going it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, good strategy. It's a very healthy approach. Of course, we can build muscle a lot faster if we redline it a little bit more. But this approach is extremely healthy. It's extremely healthy to switch the body between high carb, low carb. The cycle that we're talking about is very healthy. His diet is very healthy. His training is good, but it's going to be great once he carbs up. So this is actually a very healthy approach to bodybuilding with just a little extra chemistry. It's not a lot. This is not something that would cause any side effects whatsoever that are really relevant.